Wow. Thank you all for coming to my concert. It's nice to have you here. No. I'm Brad Maston. I'm the pastor of Fort Collins Bible Church, and I am on the board here at Chafer Seminary, but I have the great blessing today of telling you about Camp Arete. Just out of curiosity, based on how many people are here, how many of us have heard of Camp Arete? Good. I got some hands that have heard of. How many people have been personally impacted by Camp Arete's ministry? A couple hands. Excellent. That is fantastic. I have been involved with Arete, which has been going on for more than a decade, for the last 6 years, and it has been a great gift to our church body. Our church is a smaller church, like many of those represented at this conference. And it can be a real difficulty for the young people in our church to feel a little isolated. You know, there's that huge youth group down the block that teaches whatever or doesn't teach at all, but rather is running some sort of big dating service for high schoolers, and we all know how well that works out. And so students growing up in our church will oftentimes feel lonely, and yet Arete has provided and ministered to those young people in so many ways. My daughter's been to Arete, been blessed. We've seen so many young lives come, and they inevitably come up with the same realization. We're not alone. We might be in a minority as Bible-believing, gospel-teaching Christians, but we're not alone. And to be connected to believers from all around the globe, really, is a powerful and important thing for young people in our churches. So that is why I am so passionate about Arete. One of the things that was mentioned numerous times in our overview of Chafer was that the church is always one generation away from extinction. And that one generation starts with how we care for, mentor, disciple, and reach out to show that we value our young people. In our movement, I think it's a tragic potential observation that we've always thought of our kids, of young people, as being sort of less than or less important as we build them up towards when they can finally sit in a Bible class. Then they're fully important. Then they're 100% human. But prior to that, they're a little bit of a nuisance. And at Arete, we don't believe young people are a nuisance. We don't believe that young people are just problems to be solved. We are blessed to get to invest in them, to answer many of the questions that they have that have probably been settled in your church years ago, but they need a chance to get exposed to that information. So Arete has been about great Bible teaching for more than a decade, and has impacted thousands and thousands of lives directly and indirectly. Well, each year we go somewhere. We were originally meeting in Colorado, and we've now moved or relocated to Tennessee, a beautiful, beautiful location in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. It's a fantastic way for kids to get away, to make new friends, and enjoy all that God has to offer with great fellowship around the teaching of the Word of God. It's a wonderful thing to have been a part of, and yet, as so many things in the past year, it was disrupted, and so we didn't get to have in-person camp, which was a real tragedy this past 2020. But we have such a dynamic, hardworking group of people that have such a passion for kids that in a matter of months, we figured out how to use the proper technology and put together the best online conference for young people that I think you can imagine putting together. We utilized our team and our abilities as a group to work together. And because of that, we were able to minister to kids on almost every continent that otherwise could never have arranged a trip in or afforded a trip in. So it's a great outreach opportunity. And given the fact that we continue on in this difficult time and this wondering how we're going to safely and responsibly deal with everything, we've decided in advance to do another online conference. And to me, this is a wonderful opportunity. It's a great opportunity because it's a big commitment, right? To put your kids on a plane or on a car or on a bus and move them to another place in the country, it's a big commitment, especially if you don't know what they're going to get, right? And so this is an opportunity. If you're young people or you know young people in your lives that want to or that you'd like to get exposed to some good Bible teaching, then you have an opportunity to do that at little or no cost to them, and with very little burden on them and no safety burden on them in this difficult time. So we're excited to be responding again to what's going on in the world with another online conference. And Dave Roseland, who's the head of our teaching department and is heading up our scheduling this year, has chosen the most apropos lesson plan that we could imagine. We're going to be talking about issues in prophecy. We're going to be talking about the hope of Christ's return. Because so many young people, even people who've grown up in our churches, don't understand. They've heard a little bit about the rapture. Maybe they've heard a lot about it, but they don't know what it means for us to live in light of that coming kingdom. They don't know what it means to live in light of the blessed hope of Christ's appearing. And so we're going to focus on those issues. Because of the nature of our online conference, they're going to get to ask questions and talk to really great Bible teachers. Clay Ward, myself, we've had Charlie Clough teach many lessons along the way. He taught on our last year's conference as well. It's a great opportunity. So I have a couple of things that you can do if you want to be a part of Camp Arete. The first thing is, if you or someone you know has a young person in or around your life, might I encourage you to go to camparete.com. Every single Monday for this last year, we have been meeting, or maybe with some exceptions, we have been meeting online and we're working through the framework series at a level that is appropriate and approachable for teens and college-age students. And we've had as young as 4th and 5th graders there involved very positively. So we are doing that every single week. It costs nothing. Just go on the website and you can find, it'll actually pop right up where to put in your web address, your email address, and we will reach out to you. You'll get a link in your inbox every Monday night. What's the time central? Is it 7? 7:30 Central, 7:30 p.m. Central, where I'm at 6:30 p.m., so it's perfectly placed in the evening. And it is a wonderful community, and it has been one of the things that has made this pandemic really enjoyable, because it made some extra time for us to make these connections and consolidate these connections over the course of a year. So we're not just getting a week with these students, we're giving them a place where they can feel connected, plugged in, and their personal needs and perspectives and questions are being addressed every single week. Again, we've had such phenomenal teaching from Clay, from Dave, and from various other wonderful volunteers, including a handful of Chafer Seminary students and others. So if you'd like to be involved in that, please go to the website. Additionally, if you would like to sign up, or you know what, if you have your grandchild's email address, you can sign them up. It'll be their choice to sign on to the webinar each time, but you can sign them up for either our, and actually once you get on one mailing list, you'll get information about all of it, but either our weekly Monday night lessons or our online camp, which is coming up this summer. So there'll be more details to follow, and I know it's, for many of us, it's just heartbreaking to think that we won't be meeting in person, but I choose to see this as a great opportunity. This is your chance, or your young person's chance, at no cost, to have some fun, to build some relationships, and to get in touch with some Bible teaching that is geared towards them, with them in mind. So with that is my exhortation to you. If you know somebody that maybe you have a believing granddaughter or grandson who might benefit from this, at least ask. Invite them. Encourage them to check it out. If they're very, very shy, there's this great thing on the Zoom thing that you do. You can come on and mute out and put out your camera and just listen. And people will say, hey, is Jimmy on? What, Jimmy, you back there? And after the second time, we assume that they don't have a microphone and you're safe. You can approach at any level that's comfortable. Before long, I think they'll feel and know that they are welcome to come in and ask questions and be involved. The online seminars are not all work. It's not all study. We also do Zoom games. Has anybody in the course of the pandemic played any Zoom games? Oh, you haven't lived. Zoom games. I mean, Zoom meetings are terrible, but Zoom games are really far more interesting than you'd think. This last year, we had kids running all over their house to get various items for a scavenger hunt, and you have never seen kids reach their computers so out of breath, since the new Fortnite update released. It's just, I got a can of soup. And their mom, you can hear in the background, what are you doing with the can of soup? Don't open soup on the computer. It's fantastic. It's a great time. So, might I encourage you, as you think about and as you pray for ministry this summer, please spread the word about Camp Arete. Please consider donating or supporting Camp Arete financially, if you will. It takes a great deal. And as we prepare for an exciting blowout in-person camp in 2022, we are getting everything together in anticipation of that as well. But this year, our offering for your young people, for the young people who may or may not have the resources to reach a youth group or anything like that, you'll give them a chance to plug in and know that they're not alone. And that they're not alone as Bible believers. They're not alone as faithful followers of Jesus Christ. They are not alone, and they have places and people to whom that they can take their questions and their interests and be grown in the Lord. So thank you so much for letting me present this great ministry that's so close to my heart. I'm here if you have any questions. Dave Roseland and Clay Ward is right out there. You can ask him if you have any questions about what's going on. Jeff Phipps is not here, but you can reach him. And Matt and Trina Lawson are all people who would love to answer your questions and tell you how wonderful the Arete experience is. So please consider joining us or being involved however you may. God bless you.